What's up, everybody? Welcome back to RBL Weekly. This week, we continue the countdown of 10 of the best battles from around the Roast Battle League for the season. This week, we're getting into the second half of the year. It was a 34-week season. Last week, we covered the first 17 weeks. It's time for the back end. These are some of my favorite battles from some of my favorite battlers from all over the world, and we're going to start this week with New York City. It is a playoff contender. They will be going for that title on January 31st at the Comedy Works in Denver. And one of the reasons that they scored enough points to take that second United States playoff spot is because of battles like this. This was a number one battle, racked up 5 points, and it is actually between the two guys who co-run Roast Battle New York City. Dan Wicks and James Pontillo, both longtime roasters who got into the show years ago. Now they co-run the New York scene, and they've battled, I believe, 3 or 4 different times. I haven't seen the other battles. I believe the first couple went to James, so Dan came into this one with revenge on his mind. Regardless of winners and losers, though, I can just tell you this was one of my favorite battles of the entire season. And it's a great way to kick off this week's podcast. From week 22 of this year, Dan Wicks, James Pontillo from the New York Comedy Club. Here it is.
James never pays his bill at the diner. Yeah, piece of shit, yeah. The only tip he leaves is that the waitress should smile more.
Great job, buddy. Guys, keep it going for Special Ed Sheeran. A lot of people think Dan's a virgin, but he actually recently had a threesome. Yeah, that's right. He fucked both those twins from The Shining.
Yeah. This is true. James has a severely autistic brother. Yeah. And his brother has a regularly autistic brother.
By the way, me and Dan are brothers. Dan recently became a vegetarian, so now he has Beyond Asperger's. He's a retard.
What am I?
Your turn.
All right. James tells people he's not autistic with his mouth, not his haircut. James is balding from the back, which is ironic because usually he's the one sneaking up on people.
Speaking of haircuts, keep it going for Tom Cruise if he played Rain Man. People would not think this about Dan, but Dan actually loves to rock back and forth when he talks about the Barbie movie. He's retarded. Dan's ex-girlfriend is a successful comedian who's on MTV's Wild 'N Out. So one of them can be seen on Spectrum and the other is just on the spectrum. Dan suffers from seasonal depression. He's very depressed that his ex-girlfriend just got another season of MTV's Wild 'N Out. Dan is a big supporter of Black Lives Matter. Most of those black lives are on MTV's Wild 'N Out. No more. It took a second because no one believes you have an ex-girlfriend. This is serious. Dan's dad was in the World Trade Center on 9/11. It was very sad watching those towers blow up. Just like his ex-girlfriend's career on MTV.
Yeah.
A lot of people think Dan's Italian, but he's actually a faggot. You know who else is a faggot? Nick Cannon, creator of MTV's
Yeah, it's true. My ex-girlfriend is a successful comedian on TV. The only thing that's more jealous than me of my ex-girlfriend's success is James of me for having an ex-girlfriend. All right, here we go. Prepared stuff. James has resting bitch face. Oh shit, I said that wrong. James has resting just called a woman a bitch face. James's face is actually resting confused face. Yes, James's face is stuck from the last time a woman didn't want to give him a hug. This is something cool about James. A fun fact. James can actually be in multiple places at once. Yeah, he's currently in 3 different friend zones. I genuinely can't imagine James having sex. I'm sorry. So I asked a woman who had sex with him what it was like, and she said she couldn't remember. You know, fun fact, James has a rape whistle. Yeah, it's... Alright, seriously, James, you're a good-looking guy. I love your watch. James, you look like if someone tried to make Tony Soprano in The Sims.
Keep it going for that kid in school who always got extra time on tests. He's retarded. Dan looks like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, but when he rings a bell, it's because he has to tell you he just moved to the neighborhood.
A lot of women think that James is in the closet, and he is, watching them get undressed.
Yeah, straight. I'm straight. I don't know what you want. Dan works in finance. He guards Gringotts Bank. Doesn't Dan look like if you answer his riddles, he'll tell you where John Benet Ramsey is? He's retarded.
I'm going to say something nice, and you're not going to believe this, but James is actually friends with a lot of hot chicks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but it kind of makes sense because in some ways, he's a lot like a hot chick. He's stupid. He has a terrible personality. And I'm destroying this pussy.
How could you be destroying this pussy when you asked me to do this?
Because I got consent.
Did you buy those or did you steal them from Frodo Baggins? Dan looks like he says "my precious" whenever he logs on to OnlyFans. He's retarded.
That's funny, but for the record, the rings are cool.
Yeah, we came back it.
Yeah, no, the rings are cool. James just doesn't understand because he only puts his fingers places they don't belong.
Your comebacks aren't even good, they're just fast.
Here's a joke I wrote.
You fucking like your pussy, that's all you do.
This is true. James is a creep who has a lot of parking tickets. Yes, a lot of traffic tickets. Because he doesn't understand signals or know when to stop.
Keep it going for the kid that gets cheered on during the gang rape. Dan reminds me of Tom Brady because he has a lot of rings and he spent most of his life wearing a helmet. Because he's retarded.
Alright, I have one really savage one. Here we go. James's mother died a few years ago, which makes sure yet another woman he loved he'll never have sex with.
Dan got mad that my mom was cremated because now she's too black for him.
So that was it from week 21, Dan Wicks versus James Pontillo from the New York Comedy Club. An outstanding 3-round battle. A lot of haymakers thrown in that one. Two of my absolute favorite battlers in the scene right now, and they've built something really special over in New York. Congrats to them on the playoff berth. John Ajota will be representing the city as they try to take home that first ever RBL championship on January 31st at the Comedy Works in Denver. But now we move on to another one of my favorite cities. They had so many outstanding battles this year, and they are really well represented here on YouTube. They post all their stuff under their own channel, Roast Battle Chicago. Go give them a follow on Instagram. Go check out their videos. They have built an incredible scene out there in the Midwest, and they just keep getting better every week. And this battle was one of my favorites. This comes from the story behind this battle is just insane to begin with. The story behind this event. You know, Chicago ran in a little place called the Lincoln Lodge that I was fortunate enough to visit and judge in. They've moved on to Zanies, which is a bigger comedy club. And on this event, they went about an hour outside of town and they sold out this theater, this big, gigantic theater, and they sent me the videos, and there's smoke and pyro and a giant screen behind it. The production values were insane, and so was the quality of the battles, and this was my favorite from the event. This was our Week 22 #1 battle between Queenie Bitch and Kaylee Horton from Chicago. Here it is.
I don't know, I know this is a roast, so I'm supposed to be mean, but it's really hard to roast Kaylee because I admire her so much. You know, she doesn't wear a lot of makeup, which I think is very brave, because I thought you were only supposed to do that when you had natural beauty.
Whatever you say, Tyra Skanks. You guys don't know this, but Queenie does a lot of things. Queenie's a comedian, and she's a singer, and she's a makeup artist. Yeah, the only thing bigger than her unrealistic dreams is the size of her forehead.
It's just my hairline, fuck off. No, Kaylee tells a lot of jokes about molesting children. Just a fun thing for you to know about her. But here's the thing, she doesn't actually molest the children. The only people who feel molested after her set is the audience, because they only consented to see a comedy show.
Queenie's been talking about my looks a little bit. I don't understand Queenie's look, okay? Because the makeup always looks like she's going to the Oscars, and the outfit looks like she's going to a truck stop to blow a guy named Oscar.
I believe in truth in advertising. I don't know how that was a read.
America's next top bottom over here.
Also, his name was Ricardo. Get it right. Kaylee has the hairstyle of the children she likes to molest.
So cool?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Here's the thing, though. I get it, because, dress for the job you're gonna be arrested for.
I mentioned Queenie is a makeup artist, which you guys can probably not tell
we heard
from
that the
this.
first time.
Yeah, she spends a lot too much time, I would argue. The only thing she spends more time on than doing her makeup is convincing her family she's still going to heaven.
I have never lied about that. I will be in hell wearing red. The day I go there is the day Satan retires. That is my fucking house. Bye. Here's the thing. Kaylee dresses like she tried drugs once and they quit her. Right? Like she walked in, she's just like, I'm gonna do coke so I'm cool. Drugs are like, we're not magic, honey. Okay? This isn't an invisibility cloak. We can still see you.
On meth right now. Like, I don't understand.
You have to turn the pound somehow.
Queenie has 2 cats, and I believe the only reason she does so is because it's the closest she'll ever come to having an actual pussy.
I did it once and I wasn't a fan, so yeah.
Yeah.
This is my consolation.
Amy Adams apple, everybody.
Yeah. Wow, I know you slaved over that one, didn't you? Look, here's the thing. Kaylee already talked about it, and I know I keep talking about Kaylee's appearance, which I know isn't necessarily like woke of me, right? But here's the thing. I'm trying to do her a favor because she's a comic, so like something about her should be funny, right? I'm just like, because here's the thing. Kaylee bombs so much, she's on an FBI watch list, right? Like, God forbid she goes to Boston.
Queenie can talk about my looks all she wants, but that's funny coming from someone who looks like a Dr. Seuss character if his fetish was brown migrant children.
Thing 2. Kaylee's aging weird. Because here's the thing, most things about her reads woman, but smile for the audience real quick. She still has her fucking baby teeth. It's like she lost them and went to the orthodontist and put them back in. That's weird.
Queenie is a sommelier, which a lot of people know. What a lot of people don't know is that she's also a cum-malier. Yeah, she can taste any dude's cum and immediately tell if he's HIV positive.
I can test for the other ones too, so see me at the bar later if you have any questions. You don't need to go to the clinic. I'm faster and cheaper. I'll tell you that. Last joke. Kaylee has a light mustache, which isn't brave. It's just the only way she could get dudes in Pittsburgh to fuck her.
Somehow I'm more of a man and woman than you'll ever be.
That's true. That's just true.
Listen, I'm not gonna do gender jokes. I'm not gonna do jokes about her pronouns because that's hack. But I do think that's what she should do to her penis.
Oh my God. Do not talk about the weenie bitch like that.
So that was Queenie Bitch and Kaylee Horton from Chicago. A fantastic battle between 2 of the stars of the Chicago scene. I'm really excited to see what Chicago does next year. They could have easily taken a playoff spot this year. Came up a little bit short at the last second, but I have a feeling they're going to be out for blood next season, and I can't wait to see it. Let's go to one of our playoff cities, though, with one of our playoff battlers from a different city. Last week, we talked about Shalaka Kurup and what she did for the United Kingdom, for Roast Battle London specifically, but in this case, a little bit of both, because she also went over to Scotland and won the Edinburgh Fringe Festival tournament. We showed one of those battles last week against Caroline Haynes, or excuse me, 2 weeks ago when we announced the MVPs. This is another battle from that tournament. This is London Shalaka Corrupt, the MVP of the league, going up against Scotland's Lee Brophy, and it was one of my favorite battles. This headlined our Week 23 class, and it's a fantastic one. I'm excited to revisit this one and check it out again. Shalaka versus Lee, here it is.
Okay, hello. So usually roast battles are between friends who've known each other a really long time and know each other really well, but Shalaka and I, we only just met, and I'm genuinely so grateful for that because she is fucking insufferable. It's like Priti Patel and Stuart Little did a Brexit Freaky Friday. And now we have to deal with this tiny autistic Tory on stage. See, Shalaka is a Hindu name meaning needle, so give it up for your mother for having the foresight that you'd end up in a park in Edinburgh at night. I saw Shalaka's show a couple of days ago, so don't worry, none of you have to waste your time. Her jokes never really hit the bullseye, which is very on brand for a Hindu. But Shalaka's confidence comes from her morning affirmations in the mirror. I didn't realize that cows could self-worship.
One monologue later. We're with this pasty cum rag that we all shall refer to as Lee Brophy. You know how there are alpha males and beta males and sigma males? Well, Lee takes it up the ass from all of them. So.
Thank you, Slumdog looking for a millionaire. Shalaka is an unmarried bisexual pole dancer, which has obviously brought her family great honor. Shalaka's parents always mention how proud they are of her achievements working alongside Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom. She has a PhD in trains and loves the Fast and the Furious movies. Thank God you're not an actual doctor, because your Need for Speed would have done a real Paul Walker on the NHS.
I do have a PhD in trains. That's why I don't spit or swallow. I choo-choo. Anyway, this diseased condom is Lee Brophy. Lee looks like an x-ray of himself. Lee is what the gays would call a twink and what women would call pathetic.
It's so gracious of you to take time out from filming Bollywood's The Hobbit. Shalaka's boyfriend is a rock climber, which means he gets plenty of practice fingering harsh surfaces. He spends his days living on the edge, tiptoeing around treacherous obstacles, and then he goes rock climbing. You quite literally pushed him to the cliff's edge. This man's life is spent between a rock and a hard face. Coincidentally, Shalaka has just gotten her permanent residency here in the UK, so she's here to stay. Yeah. Your poor boyfriend had to ignore red flag after red flag just so you could get a green card.
This retro nonce is Lee Brophy. Lee's got got a face for radio, a body for dysmorphia, and a mouth for a glory hole.
Thank you, Bombay Binfire. Shalaka, if you're here, who the fuck am I on hold with?
It's my uncle. Respect his time.
It's honestly so weird to finally meet my Vodafone customer service rep. I hope your jokes are being recorded for training and quality assurance purposes. See, when Shalaka is in an elevator with strangers, she likes to point out that they use this music at her work too.
This balding meerkat is Lee Brophy. Lee has a BSc in zoology, which is what he calls dogging in the big Tesco car park.
Thank you for that, Scooby Don't. She doesn't look like much, but Shalaka was the reason for ISIS's Me Too movement. She was like, there's not enough opportunities for women in this industry. Actually, hang on, I want to see something. Oh, so this is what it's like to be in a hostage situation. Oh. See, I know you were all thinking 7-Eleven, but I was thinking 9/11.
This spit roast aficionado is Lee Brophy. Lee once got hit by a bus and unfortunately lived to tell the tale. It's the only time Lee's gotten pounded and no one has ended up with AIDS.
So that was the headlining battle from week 23. Shalaka Kurup going up against Lee Brophy from Scotland. You could see Shalaka, of course, on January 31st at the Comedy Works in Denver as she goes for the first ever RBL World Championship. And now we're going to fast forward a couple weeks to week 25. And this is a battle from a city that didn't exactly make a lot of noise in the playoffs, but they had a really strong rookie campaign. And much like Chicago, grew out of their original home into a comedy club. And now the city will be hosting the first ever World Championship on January 31st at the Comedy Works. I'm talking, of course, about Denver. This was one of my favorite battles from Denver, and it features a guy who we've seen a bunch. He killed it down at the Mothership. Jake to Pizza had an excellent season en route to winning the Denver MVP award. But this is him going up against a guy who I had never heard of, and I got sent this battle, and I was blown away. A 15-year-old who wouldn't even be old enough to compete in most of our venues in Denver. There's no rules. Sure, you're 15, come to this bar and fucking roast this guy. That's how they do it out there. And boy, the results were outstanding. This is one of my favorite battlers who we will be seeing for a long, long time. Unless he's a child star by the time he might be on the Disney Channel by this time next year. I don't know. I'm talking about Noah Seal. This was my first, experience watching him battle, and I thought that he was outstanding. So let's get into it. This is the number one battle from week 25 this year. This is Jake to Pizza versus Noah Seal. Leave that in. Don't edit it. Here it is.
Noah, I'm glad to see you made it out tonight. I know you had to forge your mom's signature on a permission slip to get in here. You look like you got your fake ID confiscated by a GameStop employee.
Speaking of cards, we're actually paying Jake in Pokemon cards tonight. Jake, you look like you'd storm the Capitol just because there's a Pikachu in there you need to catch.
Dog, you can Pokemon go to hell for that one. Noah Seal is a gay nerd. That's not a joke, I'm just stating the facts, okay? I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up that he's a gay little nerd. All right. Noah came out of the closet and then went right back into his locker.
Jake actually peaked in high school, not in popularity, just into the girls' bathroom. At my school last week, he was like, I swear there was a Pokemon in there.
I was like, I swear I'm gender neutral. No, that's a pretty good joke. I know it must be tough to speak with all those acorns stored in your cheeks. You Alvin and the Chipmunks looking motherfucker. You look like Charlie Brown if he put the football in his ass.
Jake, you look like you'd be down to drive the trains during the Holocaust. Not because you hate the Jews, just because you really like trains.
Someone's got to keep him on schedule, all right? No, you look like you flirt with the other boys at school by looking them in the eyes and sucking on your thumb.
Jake was actually in Boy Scouts for a very long time because that's the only way he could have sex. Go ahead.
Noah Seal is what would happen if Lisa Simpson transitioned. And then traded in her saxophone for school shooting jokes.
Speaking of, Jake, you look like you'd try to shoot up my school, but you'd get too involved in your adult coloring books. You look like you'd write your manifesto in crayon. Jake, you look like you still breastfeed from whoever programmed you.
Noah is a prepubescent boy. The only time his balls have dropped is when he's playing outfield on his Little League team. Noah's got new age parents. His parents like to give him cocaine because that's the only way they can get him to take his baby aspirin.
I'll make it short. We both have to get picked up by our moms, so...
So, that was from Denver, the home of the Roast Battle League World Championships on January 31st at the Comedy Works. Tickets available online right now, I assume. If not, keep your eyes peeled. They will be available very, very soon. Please, if you are near the Denver area, you want to come out, you want to check this out, it is going to be absolutely outstanding as we crown the first ever world champion. And now, let's end this episode with one of my favorite battles from the second half of the year. This is from another city that didn't quite get the job done in terms of making the playoffs, but boy, did they put up some entertaining battles throughout the season, and this was one of my favorites. This comes to us from the Comedy Mothership in Austin, Texas. It was the #1 battle of Week 27, featuring two of my favorites from that scene. It's Francisco Rincon versus Ryer Kammerman. Here it is.
Ryer looks like she could be anything from a 11-year-old boy to a 50-year-old lesbian. She looks like she eats pussy, but she has to remove the crust.
And at least I'm from a country with food, all right. Francisco, you troubled chihuahua. Francisco looks like he roofies quesadillas.
Ryer, thank you for being here and taking a break from talking to your plants.
Thanks for taking a break from fucking my plants.
Thanks for taking a break from mouth feeding your birds.
Thanks for taking a break from full-on gay sex. No, whose turn is it? Is it your turn?
Hey, Ryer, how disappointed was the priest when he found out he didn't get head from a little boy?
Cold as ice. You're as cold as ice. You're as
Thank you, Count Fagula. I don't want to be racist, but Francisco is a huge pussy. He told me that he can't have a beard. And I said, what? I thought I just met your girlfriend.
You said I'm a huge pussy. I do sound like Puss in Boots. Raya will be delivering your DoorDash in a unicycle later.
Yes. I do own a unicycle. I do. Thank you, Ricky Ricardo. Look, thank you. I'm so glad that you dressed like a shadow with Down syndrome. It's so funny.
Raya, it's past your bedtime. You should go home to... Raya sleeps in a tent inside her bedroom. You have to wake up early tomorrow. You have to practice coloring and not eating the crayons.
Yeah, after you stick them in your ass. Sure. Francisco and I have a lot in common. I want to be a man about as much as he wants to be a citizen. Hey, Franny, sixth president, go.
About a year ago, Raya tried coming out as a man, and nobody believed her. So, hey, Raya, how about next time you try coming out as a boy?
Oh, I would, but you would fuck me right away. You fucking better. Francisco's girlfriend used to be his roommate. Also, when he was 5, he was molested by his cousin. So, you know, his bed is kind of like the Olive Garden, because whenever he's there, he's family. Were you molested?
Yeah, she was 13, I was 28, and...
You look both of those ages right now. You're so confusing. You're so confusing.
Last joke.
All right, Raya used to wrestle in high school, but she quit because she was struggling balancing schoolwork with wrestling her own sexuality.
I would beat your ass right now, you weak little man.
Yes, you would. I would never fight a little boy.
Do you want me to mark your height on the wall real quick, you tiny little cunt?
You look like if Justin Bieber never made it.
So there it is, part 2 of our 2-part episode counting down 10 of the best battles from this season. Watching those battles back has given me even more anticipation and more excitement for the Roast Battle League World Championships. If you feel like I've mentioned January 31st at the Comedy Works in Denver too many times this episode, let me do it one more just to piss you off. On January 31st at the Comedy Works in Denver, we will be crowning a world champion. It's going to be New York, it's going to be LA, it's going to be London, it's going to be Scotland. Get your tickets to that. If you're not going to be in the area, make sure you're following up with everything that we do, so when those battles do drop, you could be the first one to see them. Click that subscribe button, which should be right about somewhere down here. I don't know how that works exactly, but click that subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at RBL Commish. Follow us at Roast Battle. And keep track of what we're doing in the off season. We're not taking any weeks off on the podcast. We're going to be bringing you guys some fun content every single week. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're checking out the pod. And we appreciate you guys for joining us. We'll be back next week with more on RBL Weekly. We'll see you guys then. Bye, everybody.